On the streets, on the streets, on the streets, on the streets. You need a beer, by your who.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, what Prof said, what Madam Johnson said, not very different from what we've been saying this morning. So quite frankly, nothing to add, nothing to subtract. I mean, we cannot pretend that we are there yet. The independence that we fought for is not what we're seeing. Political independence enough? No. We need economic independence. We need to have a nation made up of people who want to sacrifice for the next generation. If our forebears were able to sacrifice some of their lives for us to get political independence, we should sacrifice the little comforts that as leaders of political parties, leaders of the nation are over enjoying, if there's any word like that, to create the economy that our children and children's children would expect to enjoy. Yeah, that's how we can build the country. But the way it is, it looks like the current administration, they're not ready to sacrifice it, because like Prof said, the ambassadors of Germany and the others who are speaking to the president, they are saying things that we've been saying.
They are repeating what we have been saying, but now it's gotten to diplomatic levels. That's where I am worried.
So I don't know. We are just lucky that we have a political system that gives us the opportunity to change what we don't like in 4 years. So probably if Ghanaians 2024 we still don't like what is happening, we take a decision. I think that's the best call. There's nothing else, because the president and the government, they're not listening. I mean,
it's either things are being whispered, or they are being whispered and he's not listening.
Because you are surrounded by experts, you are surrounded by politicians who will be in power before, you are surrounded by academicians, surrounded by your own ministers. Some of them are making statements, your MPs are making statements. Who is the traditional leader of your stronghold is making statements. Don't continue on this fancy projects issues. And
still,
we are not seeing any change, like Prof is saying. I mean, we are not seeing, the posture doesn't tell us
that you are ready you are listening.
Change anything, to cut down on expenditure, and you are going to ask for more money. Is it to borrow, to blow? We don't even know. Now it's as if the president is leaving. Somebody said he has checked out of the governance. He's just leaving. He's checked out.
He has checked out. He has checked out, they're saying.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's as if he's finished what he wanted to do.
So now he's on a holiday.
He's checked out.
Now he's chilling. He's chilling.
Because if you have a president who travels within the country with a certain chair, but goes outside the country and sits on any available chair, you should tell us why.
Yesterday at the stadium, the president didn't take his chair to the stadium. He sat in the chair at the stadium. And nothing happened to him. Yesterday, at the stadium, he sat in the chair that every VVIP will sit in. He didn't die.
We just don't expect physical development from the president. We also expect some posture that will give us hope. I mean, I always say that. If you are with your father and there's no money at home, even the way he behaves should give you some level of confidence that it shall be okay one day. But the way it is, the hope is literally
it will be. Relax. Relax.
Not during his time, because how many years does he have?
Relax.
And the man is nearing 80.
Relax. I mean,
December last year, 2016, we, the people of Ghana, in all serenity and dignity, exercised our democratic franchise freely to elect a president and parliament of our republic. We are met here today to give effect to the outcome of that exercise. In accordance with our Republican custom, I, having been declared the winner of the presidential contest on 9th December 2016 by the returning officer, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei, have taken the oath of the high office of President of the Republic, in the presence of the newly sworn Vice President, His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, and the newly elected Speaker of Parliament.
Joined on the phone line by Professor Bafo Ejwendia. Yeah. Prof, good morning. Thank you very much indeed for your time. How are you doing?
Johnny, I'm fine. Good morning to you too.
Yes, sir. Good to hear your voice.
Good to hear you. Always good to hear you, Johnny.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, sir. So, Prof, this morning there's a debate as to whether or not it is important to celebrate independence, taking into consideration our current economic situation. What do you say?
Johnny, and your questions, I like that. Very pointed. First of all, I think it's important to mark the day. It's part of our history. In fact, a big part of Ghana's history, which I wish our students, all our children are educated on. So it's important. But marking it doesn't necessarily mean putting 100 or 1,000 people together and marching in the heat of the sun, or having these route marches and all. No. There are different ways of marking this. In some countries, the national holiday, people just celebrate the day privately. They go on picnics or wherever. Now, if you put this question on the basis of economic measures, that in itself is not impressive to me, because then it will mean that when we have money, then it won't matter if we spend it on these events. But the idea is to mark the day as a major historical epoch in our history. But the celebration where money is needlessly expended is what I think we are questioning now.
So then would it be that you are not against the marking of the day, but the celebration that's presently underway in Adaklu with all the pomp and pageantry at the time when we're going to the IMF is where the question might be?
Exactly. I'm not against the marking the day. It's important. That one I will stand by. We got to mark our Independence Day, but we don't have to mark it the way we have been doing for the past 30 or 60 years. That you put cookies together, soldiers together, pencil march and all. That is not necessary, especially like you said, in view of our economic hardship. But I think the principle should be that the day should be marked by Ghanaians. I wish on a day like this, we have, say, lectures across the country talking about engaging people on where we were, where we have been, why we are in this particular situation, what do you need to do going forward. That kind of intellectual engagement, for me, is more profitable than simply putting people at the stadium and marching and beating drums and all. So I think it's an important day that we should mark. But the marking, the celebration, should take a different form.
What do you say to the fact that the government of the day has decided to decentralize the celebration or the marking of the day by taking it across the regions? What is your view on that?
Oh, it's not a bad idea at all. Frankly, when they started that, I liked it for one simple reason. We have made Accra the center of everything. And it's partly due to the political structure that we have created. Nothing moves in this country without Accra, and that is wrong. I think all regions of this country deserve to have a national focus. So the idea of moving it, the celebration to region, from region to region, for me was an excellent way to redistribute this celebration that had been centered in Accra all these 60 years. So I don't have a problem with that. But again, coming back to your original question, in retrospect, I think we should have a better way of celebrating this day. And I think if we can bring the intellectual component to it, where citizens will be educated on the importance of the day, the challenges that we have had, the difficulties we are facing, and how we move together as a people to resolving these matters. I think that would be more profitable than simply spending money and marching and beating drums and going after that having some kind of feasting or whatever. That for me is not productive.
Former President John Dramani Mahama has served notice that he will not be at the event because the event has been characterized by party influences. People wearing party paraphernalia has been turned into a party event instead of a nationalistic event. What do you say to that?
If what you just told me is true in terms of the event being turned into a political party rally, then that's very, very unfortunate. This is a national day that will engage all Ghanaians, irrespective of their party affiliation, ethnic affiliation, regional affiliation, religious affiliation. This is truly a national day. So for any party to hijack it and make it their event is completely unacceptable to me. That's not proper. Having said that also, I feel sad that our partisanship has been carried to this extent. First, politicizing events, and then having our former president, a national figure such as the former president, boycotting it. That is completely sad. It saddens me to know this that you just told me.
So the decision by the former president is not a good one? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that if it is true that they are politicizing, it's completely wrong.
Right.
Second, that politicization leading to a former president to boycott such a national event is also sad.
I see. Prof, you know that last Thursday, John Dramani Mahama launched his campaign in the Volta region, the stronghold of the opposition NDC. He made certain comments which has generated a lot of national debate, including a scrapping of ex-gratia, reducing the size of ministers and all of that. Today, the president will make a speech on Independence Day. What kind of tone would you expect the president to use at the risk of wanting to respond to some of the things that his key rival, if you want to put it that way, had made just a few days before this celebration?
Please forgive me. I missed the first part. I'm in a car. Like the first part of the
Sorry. So I said, Prof, I said that John Mahama launched his campaign last Thursday, and he raised some very critical issues, including scrapping ex-gratia and reducing the size of ministers and all of that. This independence celebration is coming right on the back of that. The president's tone, what kind of tone should the president have? And should the president necessarily be responding to some of the things that John Mahama said?
Oh, not at all. I mean, this is a national event. So that's not an occasion for any president to delve into partisan politics. Not at all. Mahama went there to launch his campaign. He didn't go there to celebrate the national holiday, our Independence Day. And I think President Akufo-Addo is there today as President of the Republic to lead the celebration of our independence. These are two totally different events. And I will be surprised very much if, in fact, the occasion is used to respond to any political event previously. No, that's completely improper.
John Mahama is not alone in boycotting this event. In fact, I just got off the phone with the CPP's General Secretary, Nanaya Ajanta, who also says the event should be boycotted. And it gives you a tone of how, if you will, the opposition parties are not too excited about the turn of events today. Is it a good thing, bad thing? What do you see?
Certainly it's not a good thing. Despite our political differences, any responsible Ghanaian would like to see some kind of unity when it comes to a national event, such as we are celebrating today. So if political leaders are boycotting, then it tells a whole different story of where we are at this moment in our history. And that's not a good one. I think the division in our political, in our politics can be expected, because after all, this is this is a multi-party democracy, which inherently is a kind of is divisive. That one I can understand. But to carry that division to that level of focusing nationalism, I think we are treading on a very slippery road. We shouldn't go there. We should not. It's not good for us.
What should be the role of the president in trying to bring everybody to the center? If you met him today, what would be your message of independence celebration or marking or commemorating the day to the president?
If I were to meet him,
Yes.
I'll tell him exactly this. That as a president, leader of the nation, we should use such an occasion of national independence as a national day, to bring everybody together to have some kind of tete-a-tete, to think together on how this nation can go forward. I think we cannot continuously thrive in a political setting where enemies or opponents become enemies, as we say. So I think the president has the burden as a leader to begin to engage all those people who, for one or the other reason, do not feel comfortable attending to his cause. I think he is the leader. And I think leadership requires a certain humility in dealing with your opponent. Leadership requires that. Because he's not a leader for his party. Neither is he a leader for himself. He's a leader for Ghana. And Ghana comprises different people, different religions, different parties, and on and on. Together, we constitute Ghana, and he's our leader. And therefore, he has the first burden, I should say, to make sure there's some kind of a consensus on these matters that are facing now.
Prof, finally, would you say, or will it be fair to say that calls have been made on the president to cut down the size of his government, even up onto diplomatic levels? The German, ambassador to Ghana, when the president made an appeal to the diplomatic corps to speak on their behalf in the IMF conversation, they asked the government to cut down the size of their government because even in Germany, they do not have that size. There have been calls about cutting down expenditure and all of that. But the president hasn't listened. Would you say, or will it be fair to say that the people who have the ears of the president may be whispering the wrong things to him?
That's one speculation we can make, because we all assume that advisors of president do whisper into his ears. So we can make that assumption fairly. However, we can also understand that there are certain leaders who, no matter what advice is given, may have their own mind on how to do things. I don't know which is which in terms of what is happening regarding this piece of advice that we're talking about. The issue of downsizing government is not a new one. I personally have been one of those voicing this for months, for years, I should say.
That's right.
So the ambassador coming in to say it is simply to repeat what Ghanaians have said. But you see, if the president has immediately responded positively to the ambassador's appeal, I would have been shocked. You know why?
Tell me,
I
Prof.
would have taken the stance that, so we Ghanaians, we say things you don't want to hear, you don't like it, but the foreigner comes to whisper to your ears and you salute. You see, that would have been my shocker. Anyway, and this is just on a live, what do you call it? I'm just being lighthearted on this one.
Right.
But the thing is that it's not new, and I don't want to repeat it because we said it many times. Maybe he doesn't see that the size of government has a whole lot to do with our economic situations. And when we talk of size of government, it's not even just in the number of appointments. No, we're talking about the perks that come with the so many public offices that we have. We talk about creating institutions and agencies that have no relevance to progress. We talk about maintaining institutions that are useless, so to speak, in terms of contributing to our development. There are so many such institutions and agencies that we maintain with the public funds that contribute nothing to our progress. So we're talking about complete review of the whole governance structure and weeding out those unnecessary attachments and the creations and all that we have. So it's a bigger issue.
Right.
But of course, for most people, if you reduce from 85 to 60 or something, that's it. For me, that is not the end of the discussion. It's not simply limited to the number of ministers you have, but you can go on and look at the Constitution, look at Article 71, look at moribund institutions that are still being funded, people not given, being made to account for money that we give them, the losses that we incur every year through Auditor General report. All these are things that we have to put together. When you're talking about reducing expenditure, it also means checking corruption.
Professor Bafo Ajimandua, former university professor, co-founder of the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, and also a former UN senior governance advisor, and presently the CEO of the J.A. Kufuor Foundation. I'm always grateful for your time, Prof.
Thank you, Johnny.
On the streets, on the streets, on the streets, you need a beer by your